Yep. Just takes a few minutes. Just give some context and then look at Hope so. Take a look at this place. People are loading up.
We got
you're good.
fiction.
Yeah. It's a great library. Store.
See you later, Kono. I would love if you just toured the bookstore and did kind of a monologue as you're walking through.
Alrighty.
Hey, we're at Politics and Prose, having a great cup of coffee here with an amazing grassroots supporter, Jackson, who is beginning his studies at one of the universities here, and I'm going to allow you to fully introduce yourself. I don't know if you want to disclose where you are at school or anything else, but let me just say this. Along with so many of you out there, Jackson not only contributed to this campaign by going to betsourwork.com, but he got friends, family members, classmates, colleagues, neighbors, complete strangers, people who are Democrats, people who are Republicans, people who are independents, people who could care less about party affiliation, to make a donation to this campaign at betsourwork.com. And of all the people who participated in this grassroots fundraising contest, Jackson was the winner. And for that, he's got a copy of Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson that we just bought here at Politics and Prose, and all the coffee he can drink here at the cafe. And really just for me, a great chance to meet him and be inspired by him. He's already been telling me about his work on social justice. We talked about what he and other young people are doing to force the conversation on the things that matter most in this country, whether it's the criminal justice system, foundational racism in America, confronting climate change before it's too late. Whatever it is, young people are forcing this country to do the right thing, and Jackson's a great example of it. So Jackson, if you wouldn't mind, with that big roll up, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in politics and why you're part of the campaign?
Yeah, of course. I'm Jackson. I'm from Houston, Texas. I got involved in the Senate race, and for me, Texas had always been just this red state where no Democrat would be able to run a race, and Beto ran a bold campaign where he didn't compromise on his values and kind of proved that Texas was just as in play as Florida or any other swing state. And he kind of gave Texas a place in this democracy that it hasn't really had before, and the voter turnout rate reflected that, and his presidential campaign right now is reflecting that. And so excited to be here with him and supporting him for this race, and hope everyone will follow me and help Beto out here.
Follow Jackson's lead. Go
Jackson.
to betsourwork.com. Support us, make a contribution. Bring your friends and family, the people with whom you work or go to school, bring them into this campaign as well. It's the most important election of our lifetime. And this is a grassroots campaign. No PACs, no corporations, no special interests, no lobbyists. All people doing their part at this defining, decisive moment of truth. And earlier this morning, I saw a really good friend who I had gone to school with 25 years ago. And I'm trying to think, if Chet and I were freshmen in college, would we be as actively involved in a presidential campaign the way that Jackson is, and as maybe engaged and as involved as I was? I don't know that I'd be out fundraising or being part of a presidential campaign in the way that Jackson has. So very impressed and struck by his commitment, not just because it's unlike anything I was doing when I was a freshman, but unlike what so many have done in the past. But I think Jackson is very much like his generation. People are getting involved, they're standing up to be counted. They understand that this moment is on every single one of us. No one gets to exempt or accept themselves from our shared responsibility, because we have a shared fate on all of these challenging issues that are before us right now. So pretty inspiring to talk to and listen to Jackson right now. And it makes me, I was telling him this earlier, it really gives me some confidence that we're going to be okay. Not only as a campaign, but more importantly, as a country, as a people, as a planet. There are just too many good young people like Jackson right now who are forcing the conversation on the most important issues and forcing the change that we should have in this country. So, America, you're in good hands. And anyone who wants to join Jackson in his support for this campaign, you can go to BetoO'Rourke.com. You can chip in $5, $10, $15. That's, I don't know how many cups of coffee here that you could possibly buy, but it helps us to stay on the road and to meet our fellow Americans. We're going to be in Iowa tomorrow. We're going to be in Iowa the following day. We're going to be in Iowa on Friday as well. And to meet those who are going to be participating in the First in the Nation caucus, to be able to listen to their questions, explain why and how we are doing this, and how they can be a part of this campaign. Your money keeps us on the road and gets us in front of those caucus goers and voters, those people who will decide the next election and decide the future and the fortune and the fate of this country. So it could not be a more important moment to get involved. You can go to BetoO'Rourke.com and make a contribution today. Jackson, anything else that you want to add before we close out?
Just thank you for doing this. I would also recommend looking at the plans on BetoO'Rourke.com. They're really good and in depth, and they offer a clear vision for this country and the world. Actually, the way we could be going, that kind of adheres to our values and reflects our values. So thank you, Beto, for your
Thank you. Thanks for doing this. And then if you want, Chet, do you mind being on camera if you want a quick shot?
Hi.
So Chet Sherwood, amazing human being, fellow Columbia Lion. We just saw each other for the first time in a while, but went to school, graduated in 1995.
That's right.
Both raising families, he here on the East Coast, Amy and I back in El Paso, Texas. One of the most amazing guitar players that I've ever heard. We were both in bands while we were at Columbia, and this guy just always rocked the house, and so cool to see him now in this next stage of his life. Doing great work here. And then I was asking, were you this involved in political campaigns when you were a freshman in college?
No, I wasn't, but something that I remember from 91, I think, was actually in the Columbia dining hall. Jerry Brown came to give a speech, and he was campaigning, and he went around to all the tables in the dining hall.
Really?
And I got to meet him, and it really meant a lot that he was taking the time to meet the students one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it made a real impression.
That was for the 92 presidential race, yeah. It's interesting, so many people say don't go to colleges, don't talk to young people. They don't vote at the same rates that older Americans vote in, so you're wasting your time and your resources. My feeling is that if, and your story bears this out, if you don't show up, then young people don't see themselves in your campaign. They don't see that their voice or their vote matters, and it's kind of a self-perpetuating myth that they don't care, they're not engaged. But when we show up, we find record turnout at our events. We find people like Jackson who aren't the future, they're the present. They're right now leading in this moment, and it's inspiring to us. And I don't always think that, Jackson, you're reflected in the polls. How many poll questions have you answered so far?
Never
So
one.
see, so those young people in Texas that Jackson was talking about in 2018 turned out in record numbers. In fact, in early voting, a 500% increase in young voter turnout. And I think it's because we were going to where young people are. That's what we're doing in this campaign as well. So we're going to follow the lead of Jackson, follow the memory of Chet Sherwood in terms of his experience with the presidential candidate coming to his school, and your help and resources and contributions will get us there. Thank you, everyone, for going to BetoO'Rourke.com. Thanks for joining us on the live stream, and thank you for the support in the campaign. Chet, Jackson, thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.